Okay. I believe we should be live now. How's it going, everyone? My name is Mitchell Mander, and welcome to my live stream. Today we're going to be talking about Pokemon Horizons Episode 101, the return to the Naranja Academy, and Roy vs. Nemona. So how is this episode overall? Well, before we get started, a few things. So if you're someone that's new, you're coming across this stream for the first time, whether you're coming across it during the stream or after the stream ends and it's a video. Here's kind of what we do here. Usually I give it about 5 to 10 minutes for people to show up and kind of join the chat, and then after which I give a summary of the episode, give my thoughts on it, give it a rating, and then I hand it over to the chat. We usually go on for about an hour to an hour and a half. That's usually the typical length from these streams. Sometimes it's less, sometimes it's more, but I try to shoot for hour and a half. I think that's kind of plenty of time to kind of talk about the episode. So yeah. Anywho, another thing to kind of point out here is the music you hear in the background comes from a separate stream, the Video Game Study Lounge by Game Chops. It is basically lo-fi remixes of video game music along with some originals here and there. Like you'll hear stuff from Pokemon, Zelda, Mario, Final Fantasy, etc. Like pretty much some retro gaming, some current games too. So cool stuff. You should check it out sometime. Link in the description. Anyways, let's see who's here. Steven's here. How's it going? I'm starting to think that Liko might not get Chandelure, Bena Amarouge. More on that in a little bit. Hi Sharon. I see you have some thoughts on the episode and the battle. You can go ahead and give your thoughts. I'm gonna give it a few minutes before I do my summary, so. What's up, Pokefan? Be here for 102 to 106, okay? 7 out of 10. You have your issues, yep. I'm between a 6 and a 7. This battle I honestly had my issues with, but for new reasons than I did last week. Yeah, I'll give my thoughts here in a moment. Konya and Zit. Okay, that's funny. You mean Zerk? I got a couple thoughts. I'm not gonna lie, guys. Based on what I was reading online, I was going into this episode expecting it to be like the worst episode ever. And kinda didn't come out feeling that way, personally. I'll give my thoughts and reasonings here in a moment. Hopefully Liko catches Charcadet in the next episode. I have some thoughts on that, which I'll be sharing in a little bit. I know you might not be here for that, but I do have something to say regarding that. But yeah, I hope you all are having a wonderful weekend. If you could do me a favor, and if you haven't already, to like the stream, I would definitely appreciate it. And also vote in the poll. Give me your thoughts on the episode in the chat. Yeah, vote. Right now, 8-7 is currently winning 2/3 of the vote. 6-5 and lower than 5 have no votes currently. My biggest problem is it just didn't feel like a proper battle. It wasn't like gosh awful. It wasn't god awful. But it wasn't great either for something I've been waiting for a while. Yeah, I'll talk about it in a little bit. we're getting there here soon. You see all the hate online for this fight? Yep, and I'm going to just say right now that I'm getting the feeling that I think it's kind of blown out of proportion. I'm going to be completely honest. Like I said, going in this episode and seeing all the stuff online, I'm like, I'm expecting this to be like a horrible episode, and I didn't come out feeling that way. But anyways, we've hit the 5-minute mark, so I'm going to go ahead and start giving my thoughts on this episode. And obviously, the battle wasn't the whole episode, so... Anyways, this episode starts off with the Rise and Volt Tacklers. They're kind of talking about, what to do next and why, what their purpose is. They want to, expose Recurium and basically, exceed that what they're doing is wrong, and they're supporting, something that's actually really bad for the world. So they're trying to figure out, okay, what can we do? Who should we go to kind of, convey, these thoughts? And Dot's the one that came up with the idea, is hey, we need to go to the Naranja Academy and talk with them and show them what's going on. So they decide to set their sights on Paldea. So we head back to Paldea, and it's interesting because we see Roy at the helm of the ship, which I thought was pretty neat. Kind of showing him, further getting into that leader role for the bunch. Kind of neat, if you ask me. But, we arrive at the academy. It's Alt's first time there. We meet up with Gita and Clavel, and they end up talking. And Dot's been actually recording a lot of their encounters with the various Pokemon, in the previous episodes that have been infected by the Recurium. And the one thing that's interesting is that they're aware that the Rise and Volt Tacklers have a bad reputation, but they obviously didn't believe it because, they kind of got invaded by the Explorers, and they already are aware that they're not exactly a good group. So I mean, I kind of figured that was the case, but them saying it out loud was yep, that's confirmation that, they didn't buy anything that the Explorers are basically selling to the public, and the Rise and Volt Tacklers aren't exactly the bad guys. However, they need more data on the strong spheres, and they encourage the kids to, investigate the relationship between Pokemon and Recurium. And they just so happen to have someone there that can help them out, and that's Jacques. They talk to him, and he agrees to basically do some research on Pokemon and their relationship with Recurium. So that's going to be cool. So we're going to get some more stuff with Jacques in the future. Anyways, you got Alt, who's basically sneaking around while they're talking to Jacques. And he ends up getting into a little bit of trouble since he's not a student. He's trying to steal some food from the cafeteria. Nemona chases after him as well. And he eventually gets caught. But then Liko, Roy, and Dot end up running into Nemona. And immediately Nemona wants to battle Roy, because that's just Nemona's personality. She's just the battle freak. She is literally Goku. Anyways, moving on to the battle. So I will say this, when it comes to this battle, I guess I'll give my actual thoughts on it here later. I'll just summarize the battle really quickly. It's basically a 2v2 match. However, in the case of this battle, the first Pokemon that faints loses the battle. It's a double battle, but one Pokemon goes down, that person loses. It's not a double knockout situation. Or it's not like, oh, the trainer loses all their Pokemon, they lose. It's only if one of their Pokemon falls, they lose the battle. So that's the rule that was set up for this one. So we have Nemona versus Roy, and Nemona, she's got her Pawmot and Robombi versus Crocolar and Shiny Lucario. So anyways, the battle, it starts out fine. Roy's a little bit of at a disadvantage at first. You got Robombi, that's basically the support. It's using Pollen Puff to heal up Pawmot whenever it takes damage, and also damages Crocolar. Eventually, I like the part where Roy actually pulls an Ash move off, where basically when Pawmot was about to get some healing from Robombi, it actually steals it and actually heals itself, which I thought was kind of neat. But anyways, as the battle goes on, eventually Lucario Mega evolves, and then Nemona terrestrializes Pawmot, and they fight for quite a bit. Roy's still kind of having a little bit of trouble. However, he ends up overcoming in the end. And the thing about it is that the only reason that Roy really won this battle, or Lucario really won against Pawmot, is because its arms are longer, so it was able to strike. Whereas Pawmot's arms didn't quite reach Lucario, and it ends up falling over, fainting with and because the one Pokemon rule that got the Pokemon that faints first, that person loses. Since that rule is in place, Roy won the battle technically. Although Nemona's like, yep, it's my loss, but let's go again. But then Alt wants to battle Nemona next. But it actually turns out that Penny over here wants to battle Dot. Speaking of Penny, during this episode, an interesting thing is that Penny calls Dot away for a minute. And it turns out that Penny's been doing some research on the side as well. Based on her previous encounters with the explorers, she's identified various Recurium signs. Probably has been talking with Dot, I gotta assume. So she basically procured like a map of Paldea with data where like Recurium signs are all over the place. So it gives that over to Dot. So yeah, probably gonna be in Paldea for a while if that's the case, because we got quite a few Recurium signs to go and investigate here. But anyways, yeah, Penny ends up challenging Dot, and she takes out her Flareon and Sylveon, so that is pretty neat. That's the two evolutions she's using in this battle. So that's pretty much where this episode comes to an end. Okay, so my thoughts. For the stuff, like the informational stuff, like talking with, going back to the academy, reuniting with characters, learning more about Recurium, that's pushing the plot forward. I'm fine with that. We're going to get more interactions with Jock, too, because he's on board with researching the Recurium and its relationship with Pokemon. So that's cool. I like that. I like the fact that Penny and Dot are going to be battling. That's kind of cool. It's something that I've been wanting to see for a while. Hopefully we get, since it seems like we might be in Paldea for a minute. All right, I think it's time for Arven. It's time for Arven to show up in the series. Just saying. Okay, so that's the stuff that I kind of liked in the episode. Now when it comes to the battle, I'm gonna be real, guys. I'm not as like upset as like a lot of people are. I've noticed that a lot of people did not like this battle. My main issue with this battle is that like the animation was very subpar. It was very stocky and very stiff. And I don't know I don't know about you guys, but I'm starting to kind of realize that the battles in this series are kind of not. How do I say this? It feels like a step down from what we've had in prior Pokemon series. At least the last few, not really counting Journeys, except for its top moments. I mean, when there's like an important episode, the battles usually are good and well animated. But this one was a little bit. I wasn't really too pleased with it. Now, when it comes to the actual battle, I'm not really offended by it. It's just that it is a weird rule setup where one Pokemon faints up, that person loses. So it didn't really feel like a proper battle. So that's why I'm not really too upset by Roy winning. Now, if this was like a full-on battle with all their Pokemon versus 1v1, they're going up and it's not like a double battle or anything, I feel like Nemona would probably win. Roy would probably give her a tough time, but I think Nemona would ultimately win. But I don't know. I feel like this, like Lucario winning against Palma, it doesn't bother me as much as I was expecting it to. That being said, like I would like a fuller battle between these two, and hopefully we get one later in the series. Though by that point, Roy is going to be even stronger than he currently is, so that might be kind of more of a benchmark there. So, like, I guess when it comes to the battle, I'm a little bit more so like underwhelmed with like how it was like animated and stuff, rather than the result. I had a feeling that Roy was gonna win. It's just that the whole one Pokemon faints, you lose. I mean, for all we know, that Rabombi would have just like shown up and just started just bombing Lucario and Crocodile for all we knew, and then it just takes the win. That would be a little bit. It would have taken a little bit away from Roy's W there, but I don't know. I guess I guess the point is like I'm not. I don't really see the problem personally. It's just my perspective of things. I just think it was just very stiff animation and stuff. So I'd say overall this episode to me is maybe like a 6 or 7. A decent episode to kind of just, bring us back in the Paldea and kind of, push the plot forward with all the, the Recurium stuff. But yeah, it was a decent episode in my opinion. Now that I'm back, now that I'm done with that, what do you guys think? Let's go see the chat. Let's see where I left off at, because it seems like you guys have been chit-chatting away while I've been going on my whole thing. I have my issues. I'm between a 6 and a 7 this battle. I honestly have my issues, but for new reasons I did like... Oh yeah, I read that already. Hopefully catches it. My biggest problem is it just didn't feel like a proper battle. Wasn't like... yeah. I'm sorry. I'm reading all this already. I've already read this. I feel like Penny versus Dot battle won't be that great since it's not the main focus of the episode. Yeah, I'm not expecting it to last very long, unfortunately. I've been wanting to see it, but I'm not expecting it to last super long. That's probably going to be following the same rule format that Roy versus Nemona went. So, whichever Pokemon falls first, yeah, that person loses. Honestly, it may be controversial, but I think Roy should have lost so he could learn that the Mega he got isn't an automatic win button, but he needs to definitely train more if he's ever gonna want to get stronger and beat Rayquaza before Ult. I mean, granted, they were losing against Songo and Onix, but then again, they had the strong spheres on their side. You give this episode 7 out of 10. I'm between a 6 or 7. Known as Battle Craze person, like Hilda. Yep. The Pokemon Masters EX. Should have been double knockout battle. That would have been kind of... I wouldn't have minded that either. Like, if they would have knocked each other out, they'd be like, well, draw. It would have given Roy something to work towards for, like, an actual proper battle. Then he wins. One thing I didn't like about the battle is Verbombi having Sticky Web, mainly because anyone that plays comp, you can't be a battler and have your Verbombi without Sticky Web. It's just a given. Yep. Who do you think will win between Dot versus Penny? Hard to say. We don't really know what Dot in the anime is capable of. Nemona seemed to be kind of shocked that Dot wanted to battle. So it kind of implies that Dot really isn't much of a battler. It'd be cool if Dot won, but I feel like Dot probably should lose this first battle between the two of them. Personally. Even if Quaxwell has an advantage over Flareon, for example. I'm between a 6 and a 7, honestly. I like my VVs. I feel like Nemona was nerfed. I don't think Nemona was nerfed. I wouldn't go that far. But I go back and look at their previous battle when, Crocodile was Fuecoco. It was actually doing pretty decent against Nemona back then, or against Palmy. Was it a Palma back then? I can't remember. 0 out of 10. Read my comment on your video yesterday. I saw it already, Thomas. I read it. a bit longer than I was expecting it to be, but yeah, I read it. I disagree, but that's just me, though. Guess we agree to disagree then. I definitely feel like you mean Dot might win this since Sylveon is weak to Steel and Flareon is weak to... Yeah, she has a bit of a disadvantage, though, but again, this is the Pokemon anime. Sun and Moon had better choreograph for battles. Yeah. X and Y, Sun and Moon. People, throw shade at Sun and Moon, but Sun and Moon was really well animated when it came to, its battles. I'm just not feeling it here in Horizons. It just tells me that the production issues that the prior series had is just carrying on. Even if the writing's better this time around. Sometimes it feels like a slideshow, yep. But yeah, there are good battles of the series, but then you have ones like this, or the rematch against Katie, where the battle has less movement, is more just stale in terms of creativity and movement. Yeah. If Rabambi was knocked out instead of Palma, then it wouldn't be as bad because Rabambi is a support. Palma is one of her main Pokemon. Well, again, I mean, if Rabambi was taken out, that would have ended the battle. Either way, it ends the battle. Honestly, I say it again, and I'll repeat myself. The only reason I think Lucario won here is because its arms were longer than Palmot's, which is why it's the final attacks landed, and Palmot was not able to reach Lucario. Boom, there you have it. Hi, Kid and Angie17, welcome in. Hope Liko catch Charcatet, so Pagogo has a friend. We'll see what happens. I'm going to give some thoughts on that in a moment. We're getting there. Rabambi using Sticky Web like you seen VG. Yeah, we already... Pokefan already mentioned that. Tinkatuff can use Metal Claw against Sylveon. Yep. Hariyama, Grabbing and Sableye would crush them. Well, it didn't seem to crush them completely. My keyboard is so poop. Sorry, I just realized the typos. You're fine. It leads to funny moments, though. Especially when you type the wrong thing. Palmot got knocked out for being shorter. Yeah, pretty much. It won because the writers had to promote Mega Evolution for ZA release. I don't know if that's necessarily the reason. I know Mega Evolution is end the series again because ZA is coming up here in like what, less than 4 months. I mean, then again, you had the battle in Sun and Moon with Ash versus Misty and Kiawe versus Brock. It was Mega Evolution versus Z-Move, and Kiawe lost but Ash won, so it kind of had 50-50 there, where like, oh, one instance Mega Evolution won, the other instance, the Z-Move, battler won. Kind of lame if you ask me. Oh, sometimes you have kind of that can having longer legs or longer like arms and like a battle or whatever, or like in a fight or something, can give the advantage. Just saying. Technically, I don't know how many of you people in here watch, Dragon Ball Z, but in the first World Tournament, the reason why Goku lost was because Master Roshi's arms and legs were longer, so his final attack had more impact. So that's just another example of another series doing something similar, but that was years ago. Many years ago. Also, if Alt wants to battle Nemona, he would have to use his second Mon. Or it could be just a 1v1 too. I guess it doesn't matter. Depends on what type of rules they want. If he's only showing Sableye, then it's gotta be 1v1, right? If Liko gets Armarouge, it would have the Flash Fire ability, yep. Well, Armarouge. Alright, hold on guys, we're getting there. Also, if Roy lost it, would have taught him that the Mega Evolution is not an instant win for a fight. Well, I was gonna say, I don't think Mega Evolution has I want to say, like, what was it, the Steelix episode where Lucario Mega Evolved, that didn't solve the problem in that episode. The Steelixes were still going. It took Terapagos waking up to kind of save the day there. So in that instance, Mega Evolution didn't solve the problem, so I don't know. Just pull an example. Oh, hey guys! Before I go any further, I forgot to add this in the actual summary of the episode. So really quick, at the very end of the episode, we see Zerk and Konya, and they are still looking for Emethio in the Zygarde cells, and it seems like they're struggling. So we know that's going on in the background, so we'll see if maybe they make some progress here in the future. But Konya is not looking too pleased. Forgot to mention that. Sorry, guys. It was a small part in at the end of the episode, but kind of just shows that they're still, you know, doing their thing, but they're not. Doesn't seem like they're having much luck at the moment. Honestly, I'm very excited for Liko to get Charcadet. Y'all don't know how long I wanted this. Let's hear your thoughts about Charcadet. Okay. Alright. Before I go any further, thoughts on Charcadet. Okay. So obviously back in episode 57 we saw it and everyone thought that there was a chance that it would be caught back then. But it didn't happen. And I figured that the boat had sailed, or the ship had sailed on that whole thing. So I was just like, okay, it's not happening, I guess. However, here we are back in Paldea a year later, and we're running into it. And the summary indicates that Terapagos is running into a familiar face. And we see in the preview that it is Charcadet. So, not only is there a strong possibility now that Liko could catch this Pokemon just so Terapagos can have its new buddy. Well, new old buddy. There is some merch that just came out. I'll have to find it and post it in the anipoke chat in my Discord server. But there is some merchandise that came out and it listed like all the Pokemon on it. It had the hero Pokemon and then, you know, the characters Pokemon, you know, like Meowscarada, Crocolar, Lucario, Quaxwell, Sableye, that kind of thing. And curiously, amongst a bunch of Pokemon that was on the merch with like all the Pokemon that are seemingly under the captures was Charcadet. So yeah, that tells me that this capture is actually happening. I am going to go and find that and I'll post it. Oh, okay, never mind, Pokefan. I can always count on you, man. Thank you. I was going to post it, but you go ahead and do that. Alright, Sharon. Have a good one. See you in the next one. Hope you have a good rest of the day. Crocolar eating the pollen puff because he likes to eat. Yep. It's his weakness. But yeah, have a good one, Sharon. Hopefully we'll see you in the next one, and the rest of your weekend goes well. Alright, let me see. The one thing I will say, though, is that in that image, in that specific image, the one thing I'll say is in that specific image, Grimmighoul is not present. So that tells me that a Grimmighoul is not going to be caught. Oh yeah, that's different, Pokefan. Let me see what you posted, though. Oh, I see. I see. Alright, I'm going to post you what I have. What I found. Obviously, I can't post it in the chat here, but if you're in my Discord server, look in the Anipoke chat now. Yeah, if you look at this image, I'm looking at it right now. It's kind of hard to see. It's a little blurry, so just keep that in mind. You got Zygarde, you got Rayquaza. That looks like Gouging Fire, Orbolivia, and looks like Terapagos. And then below that we have Lucario. It looks like two images of Lucario. Sableye, 2 images of Sableye. Hatterem, Screamtail, Meowscarada, Crocolar, Quaxwell, and then Charcadet, along with Captain Pikachu, Cerulege, Umbreon, Kilowattrel, Palmot. If that doesn't scream capture, then I don't know what does at this point. So I gotta say, if you were someone out there that wanted Liko to catch Charcadet and were hoping that it would happen, congratulations. You might just get your wish. It would be kind of ironic if Liko didn't catch this Pokemon at this point. And to be completely honest, as cool as even though Grimmighoul would be really cool to have around, whether Roy catches it or on the ship, Roy's chances of catching it are kind of low, because, technically, even though we didn't see it get caught, and it happened off screen, but he did get Lucario, so, that technically is a new Pokemon for Roy, so, Yeah. Alright, enough joking around. Still waiting on that backstory episode, if we ever get it. Well, Goldango was a crap design, so I'm okay if it's not caught. I don't want Roy to battle with the cheese string mascot. I like that skateboards, though. That's the only thing I can say about it. It skates. But again, I'd say at this point, if we're getting a capture in next week's episode, it's likely going to be Liko getting Charcadet. Just saying. Okay. I'm trying to think what else I got here. I pretty much said all I wanted to say for this episode. Because, for next week's episode, it is literally airing on 4th of July of all days. Because we got Dot versus Penny, which I'm currently predicting that Penny will probably win, even though Dot has the advantage, type-wise. This is the Pokemon anime, so type. How many times has a Pokemon with a type disadvantage won? Just saying. But we'll see what happens. It probably won't be don't expect it to be like a major part in the episode. It's probably going to be shorter than Roy versus Nemona. Then you're going to have one part of the episode where the gang is, Roy, Dot, and Alt are going to be obsessed with getting Gimmighoul's coins. And that will take up a decent part of the episode. And then you have, Terapagos running into his friend. Liko's going to probably see this, see how they're bonding. And eventually the others are going to catch up and be like, hey, you should probably take a Charcadet along with you. And boom, Liko's got a new Pokemon. That will eventually evolve and mirror Ametheo's Cerulege. The only thing... can I just say this? I know, too early to, prejudge or anything. But, it kind of would feel kind of strange for it to, for Liko to get, Armarouge now, because technically her and Amethio aren't really enemies anymore. Even though Amethio is missing in action, they're not really enemies at this point, so maybe they just work together. Because I don't think we're gonna get that battle unless Amethio is brainwashed or something and Spino is controlling him, and Armarouge has to fight Cerulege in that scenario, but I don't see that. I'm back and forth, by the way, Charcadet and Chandelure. I'm good with either. Yeah, we'll see what happens. It's starting to look like Charcadet is reality. I went from it being like a 60% possibility Just when I read the summary out on Thursday, I'd say it's like 80, 90, possibly bordering on 100, especially with that merch that I found. I think that Grimmy Ghoul will... I call it Grimmy Ghoul for some reason. It's Gimme Ghoul. I'm just so used to saying Grimmy. The Gimme Ghoul will be a recurring gag Pokemon, not a capture. Yeah, in that case... Yeah, I guess whenever they like run into it, yeah, it just messes with them or something like that. I was just, like, when I said in my video yesterday, I basically was like, well, you know, they could make it like a Shipmon, where like it could show up on the ship, and you know, just like Sinistea, how that, you know, occasionally trolls some of the characters by drinking, you know, its putrid tea, or gross tea, or whatever you want to call it. I think Grimmigold would basically like fit into that same category where it just trolls some of the members of the Riding Bolt Tacklers from time to time. I can see Murdoch kind of getting fooled by it or something. That'd be funny. Honestly, I want to see them team up in order for Armor Cannon and Bitterblade. And an order Armor Cannon and Bitterblade. Yeah, that'd be cool. It's the equivalent of Dunsparce with Ash for Roy. AKA I want to catch it and then Dipsmon. Ah, yeah. I get where you're going with that. Honestly, Ash, I don't know what you'd see in Dunsparce. I just realized we're doing a Final Fantasy IX Lo-Fi remix. This is awesome. Love it. But yeah, have we really been going on for 37 minutes? Kind of got into my whole spiel there. Ash knew it wouldn't evolve years later, so was preparing. I see. If he were to show up in actual Gen 9, that would be finally his time to catch Dunsparce and evolving into the Dunsparce. Oh look, it's the greatest evolution in Pokemon history. It's just a longer Dunsparce. Whoop-de-doo. Hey, get this, guys. I got a great idea for like an evolution for Gen 10. Get this, guys. The Dunsparce. This Pokemon is even longer. It's twice as long as the Dunsparce. Yeah, and then you can do like and then you can have like in Gen 11 have like the region equivalent Dunsparce, where it evolves into Dance-Sparce. I don't know where I'm going with this. I should probably stop before I get go any further into like actual like weird territory. And given Game Freak these ideas, they're gonna come to this video like, we need to listen to that Mitchelmander guy. He knows he's onto something. It's the Pokemon you've all wanted. Isn't this what you wanted, guys? A longer, an even longer Dunsparce. Thanks for the likes, guys. I didn't even have to say anything. We got to 10 likes so quickly. So, let's shoot for 15, guys. Can we do it? Yes, we can. Also, remember to vote in the poll. Currently, 10-9 is... Whoa. I haven't checked this in a minute. 10-9 out of nowhere just took the lead, and it's got a pretty decent lead now. I was not expecting that. I was expecting 8-7-6-5s going to this one, but 10-9? Interesting. Okay. 59% of the vote. That means, I think that means 8 or 9 people voted? Off the top of my head, not the math ain't mathin'. 29% for 8, 7, and 12% for lower than 5. Nobody voted 6, 5. Interesting. Also, this is a really nice piano version of crap. I forget which zone it is. It's in Sonic 3. I know. I'm happy about Charcadet, but it doesn't make up for what happened in this episode. Roy being had negative consequences for the rest of the series. I mean, I guess I don't necessarily like full. I'm not fully on board with that, but I guess we agree to disagree, Thomas. I just think that maybe if they have like a full-on battle, Nemona would probably end up winning. And it's like not a double battle format. They just go all out and Nemona ends up winning. Bro did train in Kalos for a year, but yeah. I just think that like his Lucario really, 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 really needs that backstory episode. Like, desperately needs it. Like, it's not really getting development per se. It's already established with Mega Evolution and stuff, so it's like, okay, so can we see its backstory to kind of get, to where we are currently? And see how, like, Roy bonded with it? Like, yeah, let's see that. I don't mind a 1 year time skip, but, Roy caught this Pokemon, and, I don't know, there isn't really development there. The development happened in the 1 year off screen, so that kind of doesn't sit well with me. I just give me that backstory episode and we'll call it even. Sparse. And it's pink or something like that, I don't know. Or blue. And then sparse. It's in whatever the next region's gonna be called. Oh, hey Streamlabs, are you giving me problems? Okay, good. Yeah, we're kind of at a point where we don't know what's coming up next, just because this next week we'll probably be getting some new episode titles and summaries, being the first week of the new month. But based on what we got in this episode, we're probably going to be in Paldea for a little bit, since Penny basically was like, hey, here you go, Dot. Here's the map of Paldea. Here, on each of these locations, there's Requiem signs. Go crazy. That's what I'm saying, is like, if this is the case, this could be this could be what gets us to kind of meet Arven and like hang out with him. I know some people are like, oh, it's not gonna happen at this point, but like, bro, he showed up in episode 67. He exists in the series. They didn't. I feel like they didn't they didn't show him there, without a reason. They showed him there to kind of be like, hey, he exists. He's going to be important probably later on, but right now he's just, we're just showing him here to be like, they planted him there to be like, okay, he is going to, hang out with the kids at some point. Maybe they have a plot line where they have to help him out in his Mabostiff. Doesn't have to follow the games necessarily. They're obviously Horizons does its own thing separate from the games, but they could do something that's kind of similar. Maybe he helps them out with like a Pokemon that gets influenced by Recruium. Heck, even Mabosstiff might even get influenced by the Recruium. Or something like that. That could be a potential for an episode. And then we potentially could be able to meet up with Kofu and Tulip. And, maybe have an episode with them. That would be cool. Make up for them showing up in the expedition matches against the Elite Four, and they only have a few lines and that's it. At least they exist, unlike the prior series that shall not be named, where certain gym leaders just never appeared and just seemingly don't exist. But yeah, I just feel like with us, Penny giving that to Dot, it's like, that just tells me, yeah, we're going to be in Paldea for a little bit now. Heck, we could actually go back to Area 0. If there's, like, Recruium signs there. See, there's potential. And it gives us more time to hang out in Paldea and go to places we haven't been to. So far, with these 2 episodes, we're at places that we've been to, so... Hopefully in the following episodes we'll go somewhere in Paldea we haven't been to yet. That would be cool. Not gonna lie, I'm extremely fine with Liko not getting a Mega, because truthfully, people only want it because it's freaking Megas and they're glazed to heck and back. If she would get it, wouldn't be a new team member, it'd be a living power boost. Yeah, I'm kind of come to the conclusion that we're probably not getting Megas for Liko or Dot at this point. I think they intentionally made it so that Roy and Alt would be the ones with Megas. But Roy has 2 gimmicks. He can terrestrialize his Pokemon or Mega Evolve his Lucario. So I'm at a point where it's like, I don't know if we're gonna be touching on Liko or Dot potentially getting a Pokemon that can Mega Evolve. Currently don't have any indication that we're going to Kalos, unless we do actually eventually go there for a specific reason. The only thing that the only reason we would go to like a specified region right now is Recruium signs, and we're like, hey, there's a breakout of Recruium in Hoenn or something like that. We gotta go there and spend like a couple episodes like saving the day. Uh-oh, Sinnoh, there's something going on there. Uh-oh. But yeah. So that's the only thing that's gonna take us to another region. So that could be like, uh-oh, Kalos, there's Recruium going on here. I feel like that's the thing is kind of going back to the Lucario backstory thing. If we do eventually go to Kalos, it would be for the Recruium signs, but then Roy would be like, oh, hey, this is where I met Lucario in this area, and then we get the backstory episode. Boom. Have one episode for that. Would be great. What are the Titan Pokemon? What if the Titan Pokemon are influenced by the strong spheres? That would be very scary. But if they were influenced by the strong spheres, that would be like national news. Be like, there's giant Pokemon in Paldea and they are out of control destroying everything. We need to get like the Pokeguard over here to like stop them. I've seen some people extremely upset by this, and their response was exactly what I said, just glazing. And they also said Roy would have 2 gimmicks and Liko 1. Ash had 3 and Go had 1. Nobody complained. Well, I think in that case, we weren't really expecting Roy or Go to be like the battler. I mean, he got better as the series went on because he hung out with, Ash, and Ash became world champion. But Ash using all his gimmicks really didn't bother me so much because he already had access to to Z moves, and he only used it for like Pikachu. And then of course, he could Dynamax. He Dynamaxed Pikachu, but we didn't really get that. We only got that twice in the series, really, technically 3 times. But yeah, it was Gengar that really took advantage of that gimmick. Pikachu for Z moves, Lucario for Mega Evolution. So yeah. I'm not really too upset by the fact that Roy is 2. I'm not expecting Roy to just go to Alola like, well, time to learn Z moves now. We go to Galar like, well, time to Dynamax my Pokemon. We haven't even seen any Pokemon Dynamax in this series, so the odds of that happening are like pretty much slim to none at this point. Okay. Yeah. Unfortunately, don't really have a whole lot else to talk about today, just because like we're at a point where we're out of episodes to talk about. The assumption is we're going to be in Paldea for a little bit, so that's all I can say for right now. This upcoming week we'll get some new episode titles and summaries, and it's going to be my busy week, but I'll see if I can fit in, a video or something like that when I'm free to do so. Would have liked to do the video I made yesterday on Thursday, but couldn't do it. Then again, I wouldn't have been able to include Dot versus Penny because we didn't know that was happening until yesterday. Okay, guys. Just want to say once again, if you are coming in, I'd really appreciate it if you liked the stream. Definitely would be cool. We got to get hopefully to 15 likes here. We're at 12 right now. We just need 3 more likes. So if you haven't liked the stream, please do so. Help spread the word and helps grow the channel more. And we can get some more people up in here to chit-chat with. And remember to vote in the poll. 10-9 is still winning. I'm surprised 10-9 is actually in the lead. I was expecting the lower ratings to actually be ahead, so that's a bit of a surprise. But yeah, overall, I don't mind Liko with Charcadet. Neither do I. I just didn't think it was happening until literally this episode preview that we got yesterday. Actually, technically, the summary was like, I was like, oh, hello. But with that, the episode preview and then literally that merch I found, yeah, pretty much tells me that Charcadet is going to be a thing. Also, we got a Pokemon Lo-Fi remix, Route 3, from the original Red and Green Blue games. Pretty nice and chilled lo-fi remix, if you ask me. Okay. We're getting close to the 1 hour mark, guys. Do you guys got anything else for me today? Anything at all. The floor is yours. Whew. Not really. Ah, gotcha. Okay, guys, well. Is there anybody else out there that wants to speak about anything? Again, the floor is yours. But if you don't have anything, that's okay. I'm trying to think, but I really don't got much. Yeah. Like I said, we're out of episodes now, so it's only speculation of what could be next, so might be a little bit different next weekend. See, I actually got to try and figure out what I'm doing for next week, though, because this episode airs on the 4th of July. So I'm wondering if maybe I should move this to Sunday, just because, you know, it's a holiday weekend, so people might not be here for Saturday. I might just do a poll for that. I'll probably do a poll. So I'll do that. I'll put that out like tomorrow or something like that, and see what people want. But all right, last call. Anybody else got anything? Remember to hit that like button and vote in the poll. Last chance to do both. If not, we can probably end a little bit earlier than normal here. Well, I'm going to eat lunch. Have a great day, everyone. All right, Pokefan. Thank you for stopping by and hanging out with us today. It's a pleasure, like always. So hopefully you enjoy your lunch, and you have a great rest of the day, night, and the rest of the weekend as well. Hopefully we'll see you in the next one. Alrighty, with that said, since seems like things are quieting down now, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap this stream up. So, yeah. So it looks like we got 12 likes. I was hoping for 15, but I'll take 12. We hit 10 though, so that's cool. I'm cool with that. I'm going to go ahead and end the poll. I'm kind of in shock that 10-9 actually won. I was not expecting that, since this episode was deemed very controversial among the fans. So I was expecting like 6-5 and like lower than 5 to dominate, but I guess some of you really liked this episode. I still think this was probably like a 6 or 7 out of 10 personally. In my opinion, this was probably one of the weaker episodes this arc, but I did like the information going on in the episode. I like that Jock is going to be involved. He hasn't really been involved in the series, so having him investigate the Requiem is good. We're going to get to see more of him. Cool. We've got Dot versus Penny next week, and then the potential capture for Char Cadet, which is probably going to happen, but we'll see. So yeah, I just felt like the battle was kind of lacking. Especially how it was animated, just felt stiff. Hey, another Final Fantasy IX Lo-Fi remix. Awesome. That's 2 for this stream. But anyways, oh, hello, Devin. Showing up at the end. I do got issues with the Nemona battle. There's good stuff, but the power scaling like that is way too easy. Yeah, like I'll just to briefly explain, Devin, like I was saying earlier. The rules for this battle was if one Pokemon faints, that person loses. So it wasn't like a full-out blowout that Roy just destroyed Nemona. And not only that, Lucario really won the battle because its arms were longer than Palmont. So its punch struck, whereas Palmont, he couldn't reach Lucario. Arms too small. But I felt like the battle was just it was animated very, not poorly, but it was very stiff, and it didn't feel exciting. So those were my issues. If they had like a full-on battle where it was like one Pokemon at a time, battles, I think Nemona would probably end up winning. Roy might be able to take out a Pokemon or two of hers, but I feel like Nemona would probably still win in that scenario. I don't really care for the setup for the battle where it's like, oh, one Pokemon faints. Well, you lose. Even though your other Pokemon's still standing. You lose. So I'm hoping for a more proper battle later on. But anyways, sorry to end things here with you showing up here at the last minute, Devin, but I'm actually going to be wrapping this up here. And someone took away their like from me. It was a weird setup. Yeah. Someone took away their like. Why'd you do that? No, it's cool. Gotcha. Yeah. It's kind of slowed down on stream, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up here. I was just kind of wrapping things up anyways. I was just going to say, for this upcoming week, I think we're going to try to do Mario Kart on Monday. Wind Waker on Wednesday again. And then for the Horizon stream, I'm going to put up a poll since it's a holiday weekend. I want to see if people want me to do it on Saturday or Sunday. So we'll see what the people want. We're going to be able to do a collab review for my comic. If it's a no-go, that's cool. I don't know if we'll do like a collab review, but I think we'll check it. I'll definitely check it out. I might see if I can get Nick on board for that too. So we'll figure something out, Devin. We'll figure something out. But I'm planning on checking it out here soon. Just when I get a little bit of time here. Anyways, yep, so that's the plan for this upcoming week. Monday, Mario Kart. Wednesday, Wind Waker. Next weekend will be Horizons episode 102 live discussion. We should be getting new episode titles and summaries sometime this week, so I'll be making a video on that. And then I'll have to figure something out for the comic review. We'll figure something out. Anyways, guys, that's gonna do it for this stream. So yeah, I need to go eat lunch now. So overall, I thought this episode was like a 6 or 7 personally. Since people voted 10-9, I guess we'll give it an 8, just to be fair. We'll meet halfway. Anyways, guys, that's all I got for today. I'm gonna go eat now. So if you're still here, thank you so much for joining me. Hope you have a great rest of the day or night wherever you're at, and I will see you all later. Bye now.